What I'm about to tell you is a true story. Well, technically, it's a story within a story within a story, but you decide for yourself. So, we had just moved down to the Cape and we were staying at my friend's farm. Beautiful place nestled in the Overberg Mountains. And one night there was this big owl next to our tent, and when we came out, it just flew away. And another time we were visiting another friend's farm, and it was late at night, and we were driving in on the dirt road, and there was something in the middle of the road, and so the car stops and the headlights are shining on this white owl and it just takes flight. And yeah, so my friend's got this book, it's called Animal Speak, and it says that when you have an animal visitation like that, it's usually because there's some meaning in it for you, some message. So we're curious to know what these owls are trying to say to us. So we looked it up in the book, and many of these ancient cultures have various mythologies, fears and superstitions about the owl because they're very weird, nocturnal creatures with these big glow-in-the-dark eyes, and you don't hear them coming, they're stealthy, they just swoop in. And they've got these necks that can rotate like almost 360 degrees, which gives them this very spooky aspect. But the owl is the master of the night, with exquisite night vision and ability to see all around. And the night, the dark, represents the unknown, the unconscious. So anyway, we moved into the village, into a beautiful house on the edge of the forest. Stunning view of the mountains and a huge garden and lovely neighbors. And so this kind oldish German lady next door really took a liking to Jazzy, and so she invited us over for tea, and we were sitting on their balcony. I'm playing the guitar and she's showing Jazzy things with the binoculars, and she points out these two owls living in a tree on their property. And we get to talking, and she mentions something about a fire that happened on the property some years back, but she didn't go into details. It was obviously something very painful and traumatic for her. But anyways, sometime later, maybe a week or two later, me and Jazzy were walking to the nature reserve for a hike, and on the way we find this box by the side of the road, and in the box Jasmine finds a book, and it's The Runaway by McAllister. And on the cover you see this woman, and behind her is this flaming sunset and these two white owls. So Jazzy was really excited about her find, and we started reading the book. Her reading's quite good. She was 7 at the time, so we used to take turns reading, and I think we finished it in about a month. It's just this fascinating story about this girl who runs away from home, and she hides out in this abandoned house. Well, she thought it was abandoned, but actually there's somebody living there.
But you were looking with guilty eyes, said Tom simply. Could it be possible that her parents blamed themselves for Jacob's death?
And then he looked far away and was still. He was there in my arms, but he was gone. You tried to save him, said Tom softly. But I couldn't. Megan clenched her nails deep into her palms. I told him it would be all right, but I couldn't save him. It was my fault. She broke down and wept. And for the first time since Jacob died, she cried hard and fierce from the deep well of her grief. She cried from a place so deep it shook her heart and bones. Tom sat without a word, shoulder to shoulder with her until all the tears were done. When she was calm, Tom gently took her hands like an open book in his own. "That's why you did this to your hands," he said. Megan nodded. They looked strange, unfamiliar, small, lying in his. "And that's why you ran away." And the somebody is an oldish woman, but she's blind. But somehow she seems to know everything that's happening, everything that's going on. And it's like she can see through the eyes of her owls. And there's something that happened, something to do with the fire. I don't want to give away the story. But yeah, it's just these connections, synchronicities. Our neighbor with the two owls and the fire. And then we find this book about the woman with the two owls and the fire. But the connections don't end there, because the second friend at whose farm we saw the second owl, earlier in the year, there was this massive fire that raged across the hills and mountains and destroyed half of their orchards, but they managed to save the house. And the first friend, and this fire was really like a life-changing event, for her. And the first friend, where we saw the first owl, later in the year, after we had left, there was a fire that swept across the region, and several properties on the farm were destroyed, but luckily her cabin was saved. And our neighbor, while we were there, she got married, and they had to delay their honeymoon, but after we had left, they were on honeymoon, and there was a fire, and her husband sustained severe burns due to a gas tank explosion. And so, yeah, owls and fires.
The string is gone, my heart is blown, and I don't know what's in my soul.